Hi everyone, Sandy here. Today I have been playing with my new sunflower die from Heartfelt Creations that I purchased from Country Craft Creations. And I've come up with some, made a few sunflowers, and I thought I would share with you how I made these. I actually used a material that's a little bit different than normal. I didn't know if it would work. I had seen this before a couple of places, and I thought, hey, I'm going to give it a try. So I want to share it with you. I think you'll be surprised what I used to make these sunflowers. So stay tuned. Okay, so these sunflowers I made out of Viva Paper Towels. Amazing. I just never would have thought you could make something out of a Viva Paper Towel. This, I made 3, and they're really soft, so I'm thinking I may put, try it out later and put some kind of a sheer medium on them to stiffen them up if I want them stiffened up. Anyway, it turns out kind of like fabric rather than paper, and I did stamp on it. So let's make a flower. Okay, I'm going to do one leaf and a flower. So again, I'm using the Rustic Sunflower Heartfelt Creations stamp set that goes with the die. You purchase them separately, and they're available. I believe they're still available right now at countrycraftcreations.com. If not, she'll probably get more in stock. I'll put the link down below. This is not a design team project. It's just something that I personally bought, but I'm playing with it because I'll probably use these on some designs. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. This is the die, so this is what you get, like that. So first, let's do our stamping. And I am using, and apologize for the glare, I have to have my light and my glass mat here for the coloring and stuff that's going on. So I'm using the archival ink that I got from Country Craft Creations. This is the coffee color. It's not a real dark brown. You could use probably a darker brown if you wanted to. So I'm going to do these flowers. I just did the big one and the medium one, because that's the size that I wanted. So I think I'm going to do the medium and the small to get a smaller flower, okay? And then I'll do a leaf. Okay, so I got that. I've got my paper towel folded up. Now when you punch out 2, you're only going to have the top one stamped on, so that may not work out for you the way you want it to. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to save a piece of this paper, of this Viva paper towel, for some more later. So I'm just going to cut it in half. Now with different paper towels, if you're not using the Viva, if you're using like something like Bounty or something similar to that, you may need the double thickness for your flower, and the water will make them press down and stick together. But this Viva is more like a fabric, I'm thinking. So let's put our flower on. I'm just going to do one set at a time. I'm going to ink it up. Get some pretty good amount of ink on there. And this is what kind of gives the little lines and the detail in there. And these were not shaped. I did not shape these except, you know, with my fingers, because when they get wet and they start drying, I use my heat gun to dry them some. They just kind of start curling up with this. So I'm going to stamp that down right there. Get a good stamp as I can. See, isn't that pretty? And let me grab my wipes. Whoops, not too many there. Okay. I like to wipe my ink off my stamp right away. So go ahead and stamp these, and then I'll stamp the leaf. And I'm just totally amazed at how these turned out, because I had seen it before or heard about it. I can't remember. Napkins, white napkins, paper towels. I'm wondering if, you know, dryer sheets would work. Tissue paper maybe. Who knows, right? So we get the leaf last. And then I'm going to pause the camera. And I'm going to go punch these out. But first I'm going to show you how I put them on my platform to use them on a die cutting machine. Okay, there's that. Okay, great. So we got that. We can put those up. Let's grab the dies next. So, like I said, these are sold separately, but they do go together. So you want to check to make sure that's what you get for that. Now then, the thing of it is with this, I can't use any tape to hold these in place. So I have to put my dies on real carefully. So hang on just a second. Okay, so here is my cutting plate. I'm going to put these in the center. And I will just very carefully place these. Line them up. Normally if it's on paper, you would take, you know, tape and hold those in place. But tape will tear my paper towel. So I'm just going to line these up, make sure you're going the right direction, and when I get over to my machine I will double check again and make sure that everything has stayed lined up. Let's see if I cut this the right direction. You've got to make sure you, whoops, blade cutter going down the blade part. And then I always hit with my fingers. Butterfingers gets it every time nearly. Here we go. Saves time if you can punch them all out at once like this. So what this is going to do is it will make 2 flowers. Okay, so here they are punched out. I'm going to peel this up. Look at that. Not too bad. It slipped a little bit there, but when I color it, it doesn't really matter. Now, I run it through twice with the Viva paper towel, the single layer, you know, in and then back. And then if you're using double thickness on another paper towel, I would recommend that you run it through 4 times, through and back, just to make sure. So I'm going to peel these off and lay them out and get ready to color. And what you want to use is something that's water-based, okay? So I am using my Tombow watercolor, I guess they're called watercolor pens. I'm cleaning that off real quick. Okay, because I don't have any watercolors right now, so I may have to invest in some watercolors. We always are needing to invest in something, aren't we? So I'm using the bright green and yellow, and then from the flesh colored set. These are the Tombows. So I am using the Tombow watercolor pens, markers. This is from the bright set, the green and the yellow, and this is from the flesh or the skin tone colored set. So I'm going to use those. Now I apologize if my camera was focusing, going in and out. I do not have it set on autofocus, but sometimes I have to go in and turn it off, on and then back off to get it to work. So I think now we're working okay. So if I made you a little woohoo dizzy, I'm sorry about that. We've got it fixed now. I don't want to re-record because that'll just put us behind. So anyway, I've got these ready, so I'm going to do the leaf first. Now this is what I do. I take my little bottle of water mister, and I take my pen, and I'm just going to color some on the glass. You need a glass mat. If you don't have a glass mat, you can use your acrylic block, the same thing. So I just load it up. And this is where I get a lot of ink on my fingers and stuff. So I load up with some color. It looks like a lot's coming out, but it's not really. Okay, recap that. I'm going to spritz it with a little water. You want to get this kind of wet. I'm going to take the leaf, I'm going to turn it with the finished side down, with the stamped side down, and I'm just going to drop it in there and start letting it, you can use some tweezers if you don't want to see it start saturating that. And I'm going to get some color and kind of rub it around. I may have to do some more. I'm trying to stay kind of clean. Turn this over. I've got more on one side here. Look, see how pretty that is? And then I'm going to do a little more. And you want it to be wet, because that's what gives it its texture, I found. I was playing with this for a while, so yeah, I found that that's the more wet you get it, the more it curls up. I want this some color on this stem here, right there. There we go. So let's see how that looks. Let's turn it over. Oh, that looks really nice. I like that. Okay, so you can put some brown on it in a little bit also. So now let's do some flowers. So I'm going to wipe that off. Okay. And we're going to do, now you can also use your brush too with your flowers if you don't want to do the dipping thing. So here we go with the yellow. A little bit of trash there. So this first one I'm going to dip, just like I did the leaf. And then the other, some of the others I'll do with a brush. So I'm just going to kind of start dipping it around. Move it over here. The little one shouldn't take long to get a good saturation on that. If I tap it with my finger, it picks up more. Oh, look, see how pretty that looks? A pretty yellow color. Now if we want to spritz it a little more to get it a little wetter, we can, because we're going to want to dry that and let that start drying. And it's all floppy, and but I'm going to lay that out like that. Okay, let's do another small one here. We got plenty of ink on this. Tap it in, move it around. So if you don't like messing with ink and getting your fingers all inky, this might not be for you. But I'm thinking I really like how it turns out. So I can't wait to use these on a project. I need a little more on that corner there. Oh, look how fun that is. So let's see what it does with the brush. I really like the dipping because that's pretty fast. And that one's pretty wet, so I don't think I need to add any extra to it. It wants to curl up the other way. Come on, I need you to straighten out so I can flip you over. There we go. Okay. Now the stamped lines get kind of washed away because the archival ink is supposed to be permanent and waterproof, but I think it'll show up a little more. Showed up more on this other one of mine. Let's grab some of this on my brush, and so you can just start brushing. It's a little slower process, but you can do it that way if you don't want to, you know, get that all over you. Just pick up quite a bit here. You can even pick up just water and kind of move some of it around. So it with the brush, I will say for sure with the brush, you see more of the lines. Does that make sense? More of the stamped lines than the others. Okay. That's enough right there on that one. So it's not as wet and not as curling as much, but so it just depends on how you want it to look. If you really want to see those lines, then I would suggest you definitely go with brushing it on. At least that's what it looks like to me. So a little more water with the yellow. See, that just makes it lighter. And then you can take your pen like there on the edges where it's I didn't get it, the die cut lined up right. You can see a little white on the sides that you maybe don't want. You can either trim that with the scissors, or I just take my yellow pen. So now I made this one even lighter in color. So if you dilute the color with more water, you're not going to have as bright a flower. But you can see those lines pretty good. So let's clean up the water here. The color. Like I was saying, if you take your pen, I got mine colored pretty good. You can put a little bit of color where you may have missed your line. Okay, now we want to do a little bit of the brown, because that's what I did on the others. I did some of the brown. So scribble this off. And I'm going to use the brush, spritz it with some water. See if there's any yellow left on my brush. Okay, so I'm going to, like, on the edges here of my leaf, just kind of where I want it to be a little darker with the brown. You don't have to be perfect, just kind of do the edges kind of a little bit. Maybe up here at the stem, and where those lines are kind of using them as a guide. So this one ended up having a lot more green to it, but I like that. And then the flowers, we do the same thing. We're going to do the center. See how you just start dropping a little bit? It starts moving out. And at the base, maybe. And this is where the edges are. Just be very careful, you don't want it completely brown. And if it, use your fingers to kind of rub it in if you think there's too much brown there. See how it just kind of wicks in there, and it just kind of, am I in the camera? Am I even in camera? Can you see what I'm doing? Ugh. Crazy. I get so involved with what I'm doing, I forget to look up and see. Can you even see what I'm doing? So I'm just getting it off the tip. So, you know, if your budget doesn't allow you to do the both sets, get the die first. You could actually just probably do this coloring without those lines in there. The lines really make it pretty, though. But see, like this one, you don't see the lines at all. So I'm thinking you might be okay just, you know, brush watercoloring for now, until, you know, you can get it into your budget to add the stamp, because I'm not always going to make these with a paper towel. I'm going to, you know, use some of my colors, probably papers from Country Craft Creations, or play around with different mediums. I wonder what vellum would look like with these like this. Okay, so now I think we're ready to start drying. So I'm going to clean my brush off some. How do you like that? Just spray some water out and dip it in. There's not much color on there really, so just wipe all this off and get this out of the way. Stuff like that. Okay, fingers aren't too bad. So remove the pins out of the way. This is where we're going to take our heat gun, so be very careful I used mine on the lowest setting, and I'm unplugged, so hang on a second. I'm going to pause the camera and I'm going to plug myself in. Okay, so I've set it to the lowest setting. And sometimes I take my tweezers because it gets pretty hot. And I'm just going to start drying. And usually they start curling up some. Now I'm not going to sit here and do all this drying here on camera. But you get the idea. You're just going to go along and you're going to dry each flower. Get them dry. The more they dry, they do start curling up some. Of course, these guys, well, I've got you here on camera, are saying, nah, we're not going to curl up. So I kind of bunch them up, push them up a little bit with my tweezers. Okay, so I'm just going to keep drying mine and get them nice and dry so then I can start gluing them together. Oops, this one wants to blow away. Well, don't go away, don't blow away. So I'm going to pause the camera and do my drying and then I'll be back. Okay, so now what you do is you take them if you want to, and you're going to take your tool or whatever you use to shape flowers. If you've done this before, you just shape them. Now, granted, I am not professional. I've not made a lot of these flowers. I just think they're a lot of fun to do. I love the looks of them. I've seen other people do them. And so I'm starting to get the tools and supplies to make flowers. And I just love how they look. And you can do them in the papers. You can do them in the pattern papers if you want to, the prints, whatever you want to do with your flowers. So I'm just kind of trying to shape the leaf edges just a little bit by like I said, I don't have the shaping tool, but I think that looks pretty good like that. So you would do your flower petals the same way. Now, these are not going to shape as much, I don't think, as the regular paper. They're just going to have their own natural little look to them. But I think they turned out really pretty. So I'm happy with them for me. Oops, I want to do the petals. Some of them, the petals curled under. I did find that you need to dry them on the back. They start curling more once you start getting a lot of the moisture out of them. Like that. So just, you know, play with flowers. Don't worry about it. It's paper. Just have a good time with it. Pretend you know what you're doing, like I'm pretending I know. You just play with them and, you know, make them look the way you want them to. So we got one more here on the back. Okay. Flip it over and get the center there. Now then, we're ready to start gluing them together. So you don't have to use a whole lot of glue because it's paper towel and it's going to soak through some. So I'm just put a dot of glue here on these bigger ones here. And then we're going to put one in the center of each, and I'm going to stagger the stems, the petals, and I'm just going to press down here. Okay, just like that. Now, you're ready to put your centers in. Now, frills that you can order from Country Craft Creations, they're much tinier. I have some seed beads here. I didn't have anything in black or brown, so I'm using black because that's what I have. And I'm just going to put some glue in the center here. Each one a fair, mound of glue. And then I'm just going to put some seed beads, sprinkle them down in there. These smaller ones I don't think need as much as the other did. And then I take my pokey tool, maybe one more in this one. Take my pokey tool and just kind of push them around into the glue. The glue is going to dry clear, so you want to, kind of get them all clumped together pretty good. Maybe one more in there. I can get him in there. Okay, so you just let that dry. And of course your leaf, this leaf I'll probably put on one of these bigger ones. The color ended up, even though I used the same colors, it's a little bit different. No, it's about the same. What am I thinking? So what I did is I just took some glue here on my leaf right here at the stem, and I attached it to my flower, to my sunflower. So this is the sunflowers. I will have them ready for when I'm going to work on something that could use sunflowers. And so you can start pinching them up. And like I said, I may take some different clear mediums and get these stiffen up some of the petals. Not a whole lot. I kind of like them soft like that. I think they're pretty. So let me grab something real quick. Hang on just a second. Okay, so this is the paper by Country Craft Creations, in support of Ukraine. Where's the cover sheet? There it is. The Heart of Courage. And so if I make a folio or something with this, look how pretty. These flowers are going to be not necessarily on this print, but let's flip it over. We could put it here. Put them like that. Whoops. I think it's just going to be, whoop, off camera again, gorgeous. So like if you put it on any of the different papers, so that's really pretty. So we've got that print there with the hearts. Just kind of give it some dimension there. And those look black in there, so I like how that turns out. That looks pretty. So I can't wait to use that. So I don't know if this is still available on in the shop. This is called the Heart of Courage. It's an 8x8 pack only. I know she's already done a second printing and put it back up. I don't know if it's all sold out already, if she's going to be putting it more. But you can check on that. It's a really beautiful collection. But there's other beautiful collections. She has another one, Bloom Where You're Planted, that's beautiful with sunflowers in the blue and yellow colors. And then Graphic 45 has the Let It Be. So yeah, those are all pretty papers that you might want to check at countrycraftcreations.com. So remember, if you want to make sunflowers, grab you at least for sure the die set. Mine are all over there. So that's the package, the Rustic Sunflowers. And then if you have the means and you want to get it now, go ahead and get the stamps that complement that, Rustic Sunflowers. So you want to say for both. So these are on the website at Country Craft Creations, I believe. I'll do the link. If not, check back. I'll be getting probably some more in. So anyway, that's my sunflowers. Look how pretty they look on even just the cover sheet. Isn't that pretty? I really love how they turned out. So I hope you enjoyed that and learned something. Get out your paper towels and make some flowers. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.